Turkey's president says his government will investigate whether one of its fighter jets was shot down in Turkish airspace. Syria has admitted that it shot down the plane, but after it flew into its airspace. Al Jazeera's Anita McNaught is live in Istanbul. I believe that the Turkish president says that Ankara has made telephone contact with Syria. Any idea what was said, Anita?
Well, the Turkish President Abdullah Gul has held a press conference. It's given us a little more information and also a feel for a slightly hardening line by Turkey. Yesterday, they were very careful in how they chose their words and very light on specifics. And the Turkish President actually addressed that today. He said the consequences of getting it wrong were very heavy, so we couldn't make definitive statements. But what he's raising today is some questions about the circumstances in which the downing of this plane took place. Up till I gave this a breather last night, the assumption was that the plane had been in Syrian airspace when it was shot down. Certainly that's the account the Syrian military are giving, but now he's saying they need to look at whether it was actually in Turkish airspace when the impact of the Syrian air defences happened. And he's also saying that it's normal for some crossing of Syrian airspace by jets of this sort. He said at the kind of work these jets do, the speed at which they travel, it is normal for them at times to enter Syrian airspace. I mean, these are two neighbouring countries with 911 kilometres of shared border, and both countries have air forces and their planes fly around. It's worth pointing out that this Phantom F4 jet, which was downed by Syrian air defences, is actually these days in Turkey used for reconnaissance and surveillance and training. It is originally a fighter bomber, but it was brought into service in the 1960s. It's a McDonnell Douglas American plane known for its work in Vietnam. It's an ancient, creaky beast by modern Air Force standards, celebrated and iconic, but these days not a plane you'd send into a dogfight. And that brings us to another point, really, and an interesting emphasis that we're seeing from both sides. Turkey is saying, Abdullah Gul is saying, that there was no there were no bad intentions on the Turkish part, as in this was not an aggression flight, and the Syrians, in their own statements, are seeming to suggest that the process of shooting the jet down was almost an automatic one, that the Syrian air defences detected it and they shot it down before they identified it. And in the statements we're seeing coming out of Syria, it's possible to detect quite a bit of consternation about what's gone on. Not the least, you have both military now engaged in the search and rescue operation.
Exactly, so that's underway. That might shed some light on this. But if they do find that it was shot down in Turkish airspace, where does this leave NATO? Because an attack on one country is an attack on all.
You're absolutely right, and Turkey has invoked that clause already this year when there was firing across the border from the Syrian military. Look, last night, Turkish time, NATO was saying that Turkey hadn't been in touch with them. You can be sure that that's what's going on this morning. And beyond that, Turkey is shocked. The headlines in the paper this morning, beyond confirming that Syria shot the jet down, the principal headline is Assad is playing with fire. That's on the front page of the broadsheet Hurriyet. And the Turkish government will be taking this enormously seriously. The fact that we're hearing so little and the response to it is being so measured and so carefully worded gives you an idea of how gently people are treading. But we don't yet have an international response. We don't have a NATO response.
Okay, we'll wait to hear from them then. Anita, thank you.